Welcome back to another edition of the Snakes here on OOTP 23, and it is opening day in the 2023 season. So we've already gone through and shown what the rosters are looking like here to start the season, but we haven't did a little preview of some of the guys that we have who are pretty close to the big leagues here who could play a part on our big league team here if we do end up needing help, which, in every MLB season, you need depth. So these guys are some of the prospects that we could possibly see here this season. Guys, obviously, like Corbin Carroll, who we are very aware of. I've been keeping close tabs on him. I would obviously like to see him do a little bit better in AAA before I ever actually call him up. Would also like to see that home run tool develop a bit more, and just all these tools in general develop a bit more. But hopefully, as the season progresses, he's much more, at least my scat thinks he's much more of an MLB-ready player than slightly below average, which is essentially what this is. You got somebody like Blake Walston, too. He's a left-hander who we have. He's the number 31 prospect in baseball. Very good two-pitch fastball curveball, at least what my scout thinks. Slider changeup, more so around league average. I don't like the low movement, but maybe he ends up being a reliever for us, but definitely a guy who could come up and be a help for us if we do need him. I highly doubt he's ever like that high end of a starter, though. But if we take a look, he spent last year split between A-ball and Double-A. He was good in A-ball. He was not that great in Double-A. Looks like his ERA and FIP were, fine, I guess. But, a little less than league average when it comes to his ERA plus and his FIP minus. Bryce Jarvis is actually the number 81 prospect in baseball. My scout doesn't really think high of him that much aside from these three pitches, and he thinks he's really not going to develop any more at all. But he hasn't really done much in the minor leagues. Was not great last year in AAA for us. And remember, in AAA, the PCL is a very hitter-friendly league. So I mean, almost 6 ERA. You would think his ERA plus would be worse than 89, but it's not because it's the PCL. And obviously, what your scout thinks of a player is not the be-all, end-all. It's more about the stats and how they perform. But still, I would like to see him perform better than this before we give him a shot in the major leagues. There's also our man here, Brandon Pfaadt. That is his name, Brandon Pfaadt. I looked it up. It's just Brandon Pfaadt. That's his name. Righty from Bellarmine. Bellarmine? Is it Bellarmine? Bellarmine? I never have any idea how to pronounce that. I'm fully aware of what school that is, but my scout thinks pretty highly of him, pretty high control. Movements, once again, not great, but 3 solid pitches with good control. Was not good last year in AAA. Pretty awful, to be honest. 7.15 ERA is not what you want. 73 ERA plus. Wasn't really, wowing me with strikeout numbers or anything like that, but hopefully it's really the home runs. He just got crushed in the home run category, which is kind of what you would think with this 45 movement rating, but still, he is definitely an option to come up at some point this season. Drew Jamieson was a pitcher who had a very good season for us in Double-A last year, 3.5 WAR with 135 ERA plus, 90 FIP minus, 3s across the board in the ERA FIP. Pretty solid season for him in Double-A. He's in Triple-A now as a 25-year-old, only like 100 days away from being 26. Ground ball pitcher, like that very much. Don't like the low work ethic, but I mean, he's basically developed at this point. My scat doesn't really think too highly of him, but he is a guy who could come up and give us some decent innings if we really needed. While our top prospects like Tamar Johnson, he's almost 19 years old and high A right now, was in rookie ball last year, was not the greatest, but I mean, I don't like to have a guy play 2 years of rookie ball, and I would like him to play, or at least a guy of his caliber playing 2 years of rookie ball. I'd rather him actually play a full season rather than waiting half the year for the season to get going. So if we take a look at what his ratings would be in the Northwest League, he can definitely hold his own in the Northwest League. And if he's, raking through like a month and a half of the season, I would not even be, probably not that much, but I mean, if we get to like the All-Star break and he's raking in high A, he could absolutely be in Double-A this year. Jordan Lawler, on the other hand, once again, a guy who did not really have a great 2022 for us. Definitely a bit of an underwhelming season with what you would think his pedigree would be. We're probably going to play him at some different positions this year, so he has more than just shortstop available. like, other infield positions, maybe even some corner outfield to his name as well, just to make him more useful as a player. He is also in high A ball right now because he wasn't that great in A ball, and he's not really, he's not pissed, he's not angry to be in high A. We are just going to keep him there for a while, and if he gets off to a hot start, then we'll probably put him in Double A. We'll have to see how it goes, but as of right now, he is with the Hillsboro Hops. And then we're kind of being aggressive with Davison De Los Santos here as well. He is a guy who already has 55 grade power, according to my scout. He could be a serious power threat for us if he develops that power tool even more. It wasn't great in A-ball last year, but he was an A-ball in 2021 as well. Got almost 600 plate appearances last year in high A. He was good enough to where I'm not trying to repeat him at high A. So he's going to be in Double A here to start the season. Not too far away from 20 years old. Bit aggressive with him, but with his pedigree, you would think that he would be able to at least hold his own here. If we take a look at the Texas League, absolutely a guy who could hold his own at the Double A level. So who knows? Maybe we get super aggressive with him, but we'll have to see how he goes, how he performs this season, and how our season's going if we want to actually, rush him or something. We just got our player development update here for the start of April, and I did want to mention that we have Christian Robinson here. People were making jokes that I called him just like some guy, and I mean, looking at his rating, he's not really jumping off the page here as a guy who I should be really concerned with even having in my system. But I mean, apparently he used to be a top prospect. I had never heard of him. I'm not really sure how I'd ever heard of him. I did some looking up. Apparently he's got, he can't get in the country because of legal issues in real life, which is why he was on just like, I think it was just on like the, I forget exactly what list it was called, but he wasn't hurt because he was hurt on the IL. He was on the IL for something else. I forget what the game calls it. But, I mean, he's in AAA for us. Maybe if he's good in AAA, we can get some power up in the bigs. But, I mean, it's not like he's jumping at the page at me as like a guy who's somebody who I'm really too concerned with. And we are literally 2 games into the season, and things could not get off to a worse start. Alek Thomas fractured his finger. He is out for 6 weeks. Is it going to say how it happened? Making a defensive play in today's game, fractured his finger. We've got our guy Cooper Hummel down in AAA. He was pretty solid for us last year, so we're going to bring him back up here. He's going to be the guy that takes Thomas's spot on the roster. Just jumping in here for a quick update. As you can see, we just swept the Atlanta Braves, and I saw this in my mailbox. 5 for 8 on the day for Dalton Varsho, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And I saw he played 17 innings, walked it off in the 17th. Singled in the first, singled in the third, singled in the fifth, struck out in the 7th, singled in the 9th, grounded out in the 12th, struck out in the 14th, singled in the 16th. 5 for 8 with 5 singles. And the injuries are piling up. Alec Boehm out for 4 weeks with a fractured rib. Our guys just can't stop fracturing things. All right, so here we are here at the end of April, where it's May 1st. We're through 1 month of the season here. We're sitting at 14-12, which is good enough for second place in the West, 5 games out. Pythagorean has us at 12-14. And as you can see here, our team's basically the opposite of last year. We are not hitting at all. The best category is that we're not striking out, or is that most strikeouts? I don't know how they sort that. It seems like a lot of strikeouts, but I mean, I don't feel like we have a high strikeout rate team. But anyways, OBP is basically the best thing aside from that, where we are team 9th in the NL, which is not good at all. It's not like, we're 9th, so it's good. It's 9th, it's just better than 15th in runs scored. Where if we take a look at our pitching, 4th best team ERA. Starters aren't really good. Bullpen's been fine. We're 4th in runs allowed, 6th in WAR for pitchers, 3rd in hits allowed, 3rd in opponent's average, 2nd in home runs allowed. Great defense, great zone rating. Playing good defense, pitching well, but not hitting at all. And if we just take a look at our lineups here, sorted by WRC Plus here, you'll see that Estevan Florial is actually up with the big league team, and we're playing him in center field here because our man Ruiz, let's take a look at Dubois first. Dubois, as you can see, On pace to have -3 WAR through 20 games and 54 plate appearances. Started off as the starting center fielder. When I benched him, he had a 9 WRC plus, a single digit weighted runs created plus. So we decided to bench him. He's now back to being the utility man role, and it seems like he's fine with that. So we made Ruiz the starting center fielder, who is actually 2 days away from returning here. He has 2 days left on the IL. He won't even need a rehab assignment, but we made him the center fielder. Wasn't like he was playing that great either, but I mean, he barely played. So when he got hurt, I was like, hey, let's get crazy here, and let's call up Estevan Florial, who, as you can see, only 21 plate appearances in 6 games, but he has been good. 3 home runs, 3 doubles, not walking at all, striking out 40% of the time. But when he makes contact, boy, it goes a long way, as you would think, with his 60 home run power. I thought his gap power was higher than that, but I guess not. He is patient, at least my scout thinks so, but he swings and misses is his thing. Rocket of an arm. But I mean, it probably won't be up longer than he needs to be. But I mean, he's been fine in the games that he has, and we've been playing him in center, like I said. So if we look at his fielding stats here, yeah, not exactly the greatest center fielder there. Also, since Bohm got hurt, we had Buddy Kennedy up, and he's been very good at 200 plus in WRC plus and OPS plus, very solid. Only in 23 plate appearances, but still, I will take that. He's the guy playing first base against left-handed pitching, just like Alec Bohm was. Or if we take a look, some of the other guys here, Ketel Marte's been good through 1 month. Seth Beer's been good. Dalton Varsho's been good. Kelly's been slightly below league average. Same with Rojas. Hummel has been the bench guy because we're playing Paredes, and Paredes not looking good. He is, he's acquired for his bat here. That's why we acquired him. And I always scroll down like I have to go down there and it's not sitting right here. Negative 1.3 WAR already, 20 WRC plus, 18 OPS plus. I mean, just absurd. It's not like I'm looking at his strikeout numbers and I'm like, oh, he's striking out a ton. Like, he's fine with the strikeout and walk numbers. He's just flat out not hitting. The BABIP is an all-time low, obviously, so he's probably getting super unlucky. Just take a look at his spray chart. I don't usually look at this, but I don't really think there's a thing where you can, there's no StatCast in this game. You can't look and be like, oh, this guy's hard hit rate is among the league's best. So he's still hitting the ball hard. He's just getting unlucky. So I don't believe there's something like that in this game. But just looking at this, it looks like he's already gotten gypped on a few home runs. These were just flyouts that would have been home runs at Chase Field. Lots of flyouts all over the deep portion of the outfield I'm seeing. Lots of groundouts too. Or if we take a look at the pitching side of things, where things have been good, we've got Christian Javier, who is just absolutely shoving a 9.99 ERA plus through 13 and 2 innings. He's been half of his appearances have been as an opener, the other half has just been as a true reliever, and he is just striking at 12.9. 12.5 per 9, I should say. Ryan Nelson been just as good, 13.9, and walking way, way less than Javier's doing. And he's not even walking a lot of guys. Sanchez has been good in the bullpen. Nunez has been good in the bullpen. Uceda's been good once again. Trevor Williams has been fine. Luke Weaver's not been good. Caleb Smith's been just okay. Luis Frias has not been good. I don't like to see that. He's gotten 10 games, 11 innings. He was good last year, has not been good this year. Striking out a bunch of guys. He's walking a little bit higher than most guys, but I mean, it's not, worrisome or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know if I'm going to send him down right away here, but I mean, if he still struggles at the end of May, I'd probably send him down, or I'd probably keep tabs on him more than just month-by-month basis. Zach Gallen, unfortunately, has been very bad. That's not good to see. 6 starts, 68 ERA plus, 121 FIP minus. Not what you want to see. Carlos Martinez has been awful as a relief guy. I had him as an opener. Was just getting rocked in those appearances, so I made him just a pure reliever, and he's been not any better since those appearances. 64 ERA plus, 123 FIP minus. And Alexis Diaz also has not been good here, so we're actually going to take him off the stopper role, put him into some middle relief here. And our man Ryan Nelson here is going to be the new closer here. He's the new, I should say, stopper. He's the stopper working in the eighth inning or later, and lead. Also, I totally forgot to even talk about Corbin Martin, who's been solid in, where is he? In 22 and a third innings. He's gotten 4 relief appearances because he is a follower, and he's been thriving in that role. 176 ERA plus, 59 FIP minus. Very solid from him. I think what we're going to do is just roll with one opener and Javier since he's been good in that role. We're going to keep Martin in that because he's been good, and we're going to put Caleb Smith back to just being a true starter because he is a guy who was fine in that role last season. Weaver is on alert here. He's a guy who, if he continues struggling the next few starts, we'll probably move him to the bullpen, maybe send somebody down, and maybe call up somebody in AAA. All right, very, very worrisome development here. Jose Herrera's personality, absolute garbage personality, starting to play a factory. He's been awful this season. 52 WRC plus, 53 OPS plus, only 30 plate appearances, but I mean, just been bad as the backup catcher. And he came out and said that it doesn't matter if we win. He plays this game to make money and do well personally. He's not going to lose any sleep if we don't win a game, which, trying to control what you can is definitely, not worrying about something you can't completely control is definitely good. But coming out and saying, I don't care if we lose, that's, not great. And then also, Arizona players are now pissed that he made that comment, and we have to respond to it. I've been playing OOTP for long enough to have this happen many times, and I still don't really know if any of these really do anything. If you suspend him for 5 games, does that really do anything to, counteract anything? Or is it pretty much just, if you have a selfish guy like him, he's just always going to be selfish? Obviously, it's not going to change his personality, but I don't feel like suspending him for 5 games really does anything. So he's definitely a guy who we're probably going to look to trade at some point just because, he's fine, but he's not good enough to where we aren't opposed to trading him to try to get his personality off the team. Especially when we have the man himself in AAA, Austin Hedges, the high leader, high work ethic, high intelligence captain, 80 catcher ability man, to come up and be our backup catcher behind Carson Kelly. So boom, he gets suspended for 5 games. And, maybe a little bit later on in the season, we'll start to kind of look around and possibly look to trade him to somebody else. Alrighty, the team is pleased by our suspension. They seem pretty happy that I took action and suspended Herrera, so I guess the answer to the question that at least temporarily has calmed things down. And some more not great injury news here, as Yu Darvish has suffered a setback to his hamstring strain and will now take at least 5 weeks until he's ready to play again. Injury worsens. Not great. Alrighty, so we're here a bit into May now. We just got swept by both the Mets and the Nationals. Also lost the series to the Giants. A little bit of a downside here, a little bit of a downswing to our season, but we're not going to panic. We are going to make some changes. So both Alec Thomas and Alec Boehm are both in AAA on a rehab assignment. Thomas is about halfway through his. He's played 8 games down there, and he's just tearing the cover off the ball. So we're going to call him back up here. While Alec Boehm has played 4 games, he's also tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. And we're just going to make some changes here. So both of our center fielders here, Dubois and Ruiz, are both just not getting it done. Dubois here, 63 WRC plus. Obviously has more positional versatility than Ruiz does. He was in that role for us last year, so he's probably the guy I keep up here, while Ruiz, I might send down to AAA. I'm not sure here, but he's been awful. He's been starting 110 plate appearances, just flat out awful at the plate, and it's not like he's being good enough in center field to where I'm like, hey, we need this guy in center field. Also, our man Paredes here, you look at his numbers overall and you're like, wow, this guy still stinks, but he's been turning things around. Here in May, 49 plate appearances, he's been hitting very well, only striking at 4% of the time. So we are going to keep him up in the big leagues here. We ended up moving him down in the order. Now Rojas is leading off because he has the highest walk percentage on the team, and he's been flourishing in that spot. So we're going to keep him as the leadoff man. And we are going to send Ruiz down to AAA right now. We are actually going to go ahead and DFA Dubois as well to open up a spot. He is out of option years, so we're going to attempt to pass him through waivers. If he gets claimed, that's fine. So Florial, who is just like has a couple days left on an injury, is now the fourth outfielder for us. Alek Thomas is going to be playing some center field. He's, not the most ideal center fielder, but I mean, we're going to play him there while Varsho is now playing in right field. He's been good there this season. Or I guess he's been fine at the plate, I guess. And hasn't really been good in right field either. So, probably not a guy we want playing center field. Buddy Kennedy has very much done what he's supposed to do up here in the big leagues. He's come up, been the first baseman against left-handed pitching, and he has been very good in that role. 5 home runs, three doubles, been solid through 53 plate appearances, but it's time for Alec Boehm to come back. Alrighty, so here's what the lineups look like right now. Geraldo Perdomo is up from AAA. He was doing well down there. 123 WRC plus, walking more than he was striking out. Just all around very solid in AAA. So he's going to come up and be our main backup infielder now, since Dubois and Ruiz are no longer on the Major League roster. Florial's the fourth outfielder. And then against lefties, it's just Smith in left field now, Boehm at first, and Paredes is the DH while Beer is the backup. Because if we take a look at Beer, he's just not very good against lefties. If you look at his numbers, only 21 plate appearances, but I mean, not the greatest numbers. And unfortunately, our man Ryan Nelson here has been really bad in that stopper role. Remember, he got off to that fantastic start to the season, but he has been not good in the stopper role. We are going to go ahead and give that role to Christopher Sanchez here, so he becomes the stopper in the 8th or later end lead. Closer is the secondary role. Ryan Nelson goes back to being a setup. And our man Carlos Martinez here is just not cutting it. The Tsunami guy is, he's just not good anymore. Unfortunately, very exciting player in real life, even though I believe he's suspended for PEDs in real life. He is getting the DFA from us. And our man JB Bukauskas, who's been solid in 13 innings down in AAA, is going to get called back up here because he was good in the bigs last season, so he's getting back up to Arizona. And the Tsunami was indeed claimed. So Carlos Martinez is going to be going to the Colorado Rockies, or at least that's who's claimed him. Somebody could claim him after them. That has a higher priority. Also, Pavin Smith, immediately back to full strength. So nothing to worry about there. He does indeed end up going to the Colorado Rockies. So he's going to pitch for them now. Alrighty, it is June 5th, so that means it is time here for the first-year player draft. Before we get into that, I do want to make a couple changes here to the big league roster. I'm also now seeing that Pavin Smith has a injured diagnosis pending, so that's not great. But as you can see, Alek Thomas is now our leadoff man, our center fielder. If we sort by walk percentage, it's basically him and Rojas and even Paredes, who are all neck and neck here for the highest walk percentage, as well as Perdomo. Rojas definitely strikes out more than Thomas, and even Paredes does, which is why I had Paredes leading off to start the season, because I know that he's a guy who's going to walk a lot and also not strike out. I mean, he's definitely not what we expected him to be. He has been better, though, in May. He was basically about a league average hitter. So, I mean, I'm not really giving up on him. I don't really want to send him down either. But we're going to see how he performs the rest of this season here. And maybe once we get through June, if he's still, not great, we'll probably make a change. But overall, it's been these three guys right here who have been carrying our offense this season. Alek Thomas, only 18 games, started 19 games overall because he got hurt like right away, but he's been fantastic in the games that he has played. Ketel Marte, just absolutely insane, exactly what you would expect him to be. And even Josh Rojas, really, really having a great season. Probably going to mess with this a bit and maybe have Rojas in the 4-hole, Beer in the 5-hole, and then Paredes. But I mean, I like this 1 to 5 quite a lot. Unfortunately, Pavin Smith, well, he's actually been pretty solid. He was a little bit less than league average, but he's about a league average hitter now. Varsho's only been about a league average this season. Beer, not great. Kelly, not great. Perdomo's barely played. He's a backup. Paredes, we know about him. Herrera's been awful, and Nick Ahmed's been awful at the dish. But I mean, he was off of the dish last year as well. He wasn't really great. His whole thing is that he obviously is a very good fielder. And then, of course, against lefties, we've got our guy Alec Bohm, who's been overall around league average against lefties. A little less than league average, but that's where he's played. It's only been 43 plate appearances, though, so we can't really judge that much. But I mean, the 23 walk percentage is very, very not good. And he's a guy that my scout thinks is a above average eye discipline, as well as OSA. So maybe he's just having obviously it's very early on for him, only 44, 43, or was it 43, 61. I don't know why. 43 against lefties is what it was. And when it comes to the pitching is really where we want to make some changes here. Right off the bat, you're seeing, if we sort by WAR here, Alexis Diaz, Luke Weaver, been very bad. Weaver currently on a cold streak. I don't think he's really ever had a solid month. Yeah, no, he's just been bad in April and May here for us. Just not a great season for Luke Weaver here. He is a guy who has an option, but I don't really want to put him in AAA, so we're just going to throw him into the bullpen here. Alexis Diaz has not been good this season, so we are just going to put him in AAA. Bukauskas has only been up for 7 innings, so we're not going to make a judgment quite on him yet, but obviously not the greatest start. Striking out a lot of guys in those 7 innings, but also walking a bit too much. Ryan Nelson has really struggled this year for whatever reason. We're definitely going to drop him back to a middle relief role. And then Zach Gallen is one of our guys who has just been really not great this season for whatever reason. Of course, the year we buy it as arbitration for what was it? $8.3 million for the next 2 seasons. He decides to go ahead and just be awful this year. Caleb Smith has been fine in the rotation. He's been really no difference. Really no difference. A little tiny bit worse as a starter, just a true starter, than he was as a reliever in some metrics, and basically the same in other metrics. Like he had the better FIP as a follower. So I mean, maybe we put him back as a follower here and just hope we get some squeeze a little bit extra value out of him. But I mean, overall, as an extreme fly ball pitcher with only 40 movement, that's definitely a recipe for not being great. Unfortunately, none of our starters or really any of our pitchers are really that good in AAA this season. I mean, the PCL is just an absolute meat grinder when it comes to pitchers here, so it really takes somebody to really stand out. Tyler Holton's been the best of the bunch, though. ERA plus has been solid above league average. Very good FIP minus. He's a neutral ground ball, fly ball guy, so he's not a huge fly ball guy with a low movement. But we're going to call him up here. We have to add to the 40-man too when we do, but we have a spot open. So we're just going to go straight to Arizona with Tyler Holton here, former Florida State lefty. So here's what the staff looks like as of right now. Luis Frias is now into the rotation here. We just inserted him into a spot that was already open. So Luis Frias has been up and down this season, but overall very solid in the bullpen. 130 ERA plus, 65 FIP minus, very good. Traditional numbers as well, striking out a decent amount of guys, not walking anybody, and not giving up home runs. League average movement, my scout thinks, same with head scouts, or same with OSA. And he is just a guy who last year was very good in AAA as a starter. I'm looking at the wrong year. Last year was very good in AAA as a starter, 2.8 WAR, very solid on PCL. So he came up and was very good as an opener bullpen guy. We eased him into the bullpen. Now he's getting a shot here in the rotation. While Caleb Smith is now going to become a follower here in the bullpen. And in the bullpen, Sanchez is still the stopper. He's been very good. The 3 setup guys are now Uceda, Nunez, and Javier. He's still the opener with a secondary role, and then it's Bukauskas, Holton, and Nelson in the middle. Holton is also going to be an opener here up in the big leagues, taking that Frias role that he had last season. And then Luke Weaver is just kind of a long man who we are going to be avoiding high leverage and maybe get some very emergency spot starts. Also, I don't want Ryan Nelson being a setup man. We're just going to probably leave this as just maybe a long relief. We'll put that as long relief as his second role in case we need a lot of innings out of a guy in like a failed start. So here we are in the first year player draft here in 2023. If we take a look at the mock draft here, they expect Max Clark to be going first overall, a outfielder from Franklin, Indiana. They expect us to be taking Dylan Cupp, a shortstop, who is very good but extremely expensive. Probably won't be doing that just because my budget. If we take a look here, our draft budget total is going to be 17 million this season. So I'm not trying to come in here and just knock out like 90% of that with the first pick like we did last year with Tamar. And generally, when a high school guy like that is going to go 15 and wants a bonus like this, it's generally because he even says hesitant to commit. He's probably committed to a college. I guess he's not. Or yes, I skipped right by it. He's committed to Mississippi State. He's going to go play SEC baseball unless somebody gives him that much money. Let's see who the Cubs take number 1 overall, though. They do indeed not take the guy they thought they were going to be taking. Who was that? Max Clark. They take Jacob Gonzalez, a shortstop from Ole Miss, who I somehow have never heard of. But he goes first overall. Very good, potentially hitting shortstop. We'll do like the couple first picks here and see who goes in like the top 5. Second overall to Texas is Dylan Cruz from LSU. He, once again, very good bat, as you would expect. Pretty high bonus demand. Third overall for Washington is Max Clark. That's where he goes. Then we got Texas going again. They take Walker Jenkins. They have Steele Walker and now also Walker Jenkins, who is a outfielder as well. Once again, very good outfielder hitting-wise. And then the number 5 pick is going to be Dylan Cupp, the man that they thought we were going to get at 15. So let's just auto-draft here to Arizona's pick. The number 15 overall pick, Bubba Thompson, just went, and we are probably going to go bat here. And it looks like there are some decent bats. Our scout thinks we should take Blake Mitchell, a catcher, who does look like a pretty solid catcher. Don't like the high greed, do like the work ethic. Don't like the intelligence, though. Learns slowly, but he tries as hard as anybody. Definitely not the greatest there. He is committed to LSU, which is basically where literally everybody is committed in real life. I mean, my scout does think he is the best available player here. I know catcher ability is not as important as it once was, but I mean, do I really want to go after a guy with 55? Maybe. There's also Antonio Anderson, who is definitely more of a second baseman than he is a shortstop. Could he play some outfield? Maybe a little bit, but definitely a second baseman, just another like Tamar Johnson type. If we're going to get him, he's committed to Georgia Tech. Or what is his bonus? He just wants the slot. Very interesting. Well, Mitchell doesn't want much as well either. Or there's Trey Phelps here, third baseman. I mean, this guy's he's a first baseman. Maybe corner outfielder. I mean, he's just not a good defensive player at all. But he could be a very good bat. Don't like the low work ethic, though. Reservations about his hustle and defensive potential. Don't like that. And then there's a first baseman who looks like he's just going to be an absolute big bopper here. High leader, high work ethic, high greed, though. But, I mean, he's a first baseman, and he does not want to come to us. He wants to go to Mississippi State. I am kind of leaning Mitchell here, just because he does have the high work ethic, even though he does have the high greed. I mean, if a catcher develops to have all these, that's pretty solid. Above average contact, smooth swing, quick hands, good pitch recognition. Can make most plays, solid defender. Mitchell profiles as an everyday catcher who can make an impact on a top-tier team. So yeah, my scout's pretty high on him. Really, it would just come down to if we want another Tamar Johnson, who's a switch hitter, or do we want the catcher? We could go one of these pitchers, too, like this Italian fella. Definitely interesting with his high work ethic. But once again, Denmark, Georgia. Very interesting. Committed to UNC. High school pitchers don't really like taking that very early. All these guys are high school pitchers. We're going to go back. So my scout thinks Antonio Anderson here, 6'4", 205-pound shortstop. Definitely more of a second baseman. Projects to be a 290 hitter. Great feel for the strike zone. Above average power hitter. He's still young, but his development prospect as a future shortstop looks extremely promising. I mean, he could even play some third base, honestly, at 6'4". Definitely. I mean, he even can. I thought this was second base. I just kind of glanced over that. He can play some third base, switch hitting, corner infielder, also shortstop if we really, really needed him to. But I mean, he's more of a third baseman, definitely. I think we're going to go with him. We're going to go with Antonio Anderson. Sorry, Blake Mitchell, but I want Antonio Anderson here in the first round. Alrighty, we are here in round 2, and my scouting director thinks we should take this catcher, Rafael Vasquez. Very interesting. I'm assuming that's Rafael. Very weird way to spell it, but I mean, insanely good power hitting catcher. Going to do a lot of swinging and missing, but he's going to make a lot of hard contact, and he's not a lot of hard contact. When he makes contact, it's going to go a long way. High school catcher, high leader, high work ethic, high intelligence, low greed. Probably not a catcher, probably more of a first baseman. I like the personality very much, though. Maybe can play some corner in outfield. If I was to take a pitcher, my scout thinks I should take Ethan Robinson, who is a low leader. That's what we know about him. Righty from Nashville who's committed to Vandy, because all the pitchers are committed to Vandy. Don't like the movement, but overall very solid profile. Oh, baby, I'm just realizing my man Ryan Lasko is here, baby. Rutgers center fielder. Insane eye discipline. Void K. I mean, he's only at the potential, a bit lower down here on the list. So he's probably a guy who would be able to take next round, possibly. I want him just because he's a Rutgers guy. Great signability. I mean, he's perfect. I want him. But in this pick, we are going to go with what my scout wants in Velasquez here, the high work ethic, high intelligence, high leader, power hitting catcher, because we could use some pop. So Velasquez, we are going to go with him. And I have been betrayed. It looks like he was taken. It looks like Lasko was indeed taken. Not the draft order here. What am I looking for? The draft log. Yes, he went just a few picks before. He went to the Blue Jays. My scout wants me to take this catcher now, and I'm just not interested. I don't really want him. Low work ethic, not great. We're here in round 3, and these high school pitchers are still here. 75 potential. I mean, that's hard to pass up here. Even if he is a high schooler, it does want a pretty decent demand. But I mean, he is, if he develops, which is the thing that is obviously very hard for pitchers in general, but I mean when they're 18 years old, it's a lot can go wrong. Capochi here wants more slots. Definitely not as enticing because Eldridge here, he's just kind of, we don't really know what he is, but he's got, the changeup's not great. I don't like that. Capochi's probably got the more favorable outlook, according to my scout and OSA. Don't like the low intelligence, do like the high work ethic. And that is who my scout thinks we should take if I ask him for a pitcher. So we're going to go with him. We're going to go Francesco Capochi. He's going to come and play for the Diamondbacks. Here in the 4th round, my scout thinks we should take this AJ Gracia guy. He's a corner outfielder. He's got like an okay bat profile, but he can also pitch a little bit. But I mean, it's not really that impressive with his ratings. So I mean, he's not a guy we're taking here in the 4th round. I do like this Luca Reyes guy. High schooler. Projects to be a pretty solid corner outfield bat. Definitely, I mean, he could play first, but I mean, not well. There's this Drake Bowen kid who's got high work ethic, high intelligence, but he is a infielder, definitely just like a third baseman who really can make contact, hit home runs, but he's never going to walk. He's going to be a guy who's like, he's just going to make contact, and when he makes contact, it goes well. But his profile is very reliant on making consistent contact, and he's never going to really work counts or anything like that. I don't like guys like that. And we're just going to go with Luca Reyes here from Bergen Catholic, one of the top private schools in New Jersey when it comes to producing talent in like every sport. So Luca Reyes is going to come to the D-backs. Here in the 5th round, my scout thinks we should take Landon O'Donnell, extremely Irish name. A little bit of a power hitter, can play corner infield. Don't like the low work ethic, though. High leader. I like Michael Graziano, what his profile is, all around solid hitter, can play all three outfield positions at a decently high level. Never going to be an everyday center fielder, but I mean, still pretty solid. But I don't like the low work ethic whatsoever. This guy is another bat who could develop, but he's once again a corner infielder who really can't even play the corner very well. Doesn't have the greatest personality either. And if you look at all these bats, it's really just Nolan Stevens who is, just ignore him whenever you see him because he is impossible to sign. He would just take like I don't even know if you can. I'm pretty sure you can sign the impossible guys, but it takes like just a stupid amount of money that we're not trying to put into a guy in the fifth round. But when you look at the potential of the guys that are still here for the bats, it's mostly 45s, and then it drops down to 40 here. And there are some interesting 40 potential guys that I do like. This Lou James Groover III, NC State's utility guy. Low work ethic, though, don't like that. But all around, just a very average defender at like every position. Can play, wherever. And it looks like he's going to have a pretty decent bat that's, not even far away from being major league ready, as you would expect a college hitter to be. Or there's even somebody like Jaquan Smith here, who is a Bahaman from the Bahamas, lefty, 70 outfield range, very, very good, super fast. Looks like it could be a guy who walks a decent amount. Never going to be a great hitter, but I mean, he's got 70 outfield range. So he's probably the guy we're leaning towards taking here in the fifth round. Where if we take a look at what my scout wants us to take pitching-wise, they want us to take Hero Watt from Westport, Connecticut. Went to some private school. That's a very private school name. Stamford, Connecticut. Righty, decent profile. Don't like the movement, but overall could be a pretty solid pitcher. Once again, he is a high school pitcher. And the one thing we're really missing here with our organization, I feel like, and it's just, most teams are missing, is the outfield range when it comes to outfield. So Jaquan Smith here from the Bahamas is the guy we are going to be taking here in the fifth round. And then even though he does have low work ethic, we are going to take this guy, James Grover III, here in the sixth round. He's going to be our pick, college bat from NC State. Seventh round, and our scout wants us to take Cruz Newman, lefty-righty, sinister lefty, JUCO bat. Pretty much already developed, and he's not a good bat even right now, and he played against poor competition, so not really too interested in taking him. There is somebody like Gabe Briones, probably just said it the same way twice, but however you say his last name, Briones, Gabe here, high work ethic catcher, baseball rat, very good catcher ability, JUCO guy from a community college. Pretty much already mostly developed, but I mean, definitely a solid catcher to have throughout the system here. I don't know if I want to take him quite yet, but he is a guy that I do have my eye on. I like this high school outfielder as well. Looks like he could have a pretty decent bat, could avoid Ks. Not the greatest personality, but he seems like he could play like all over the place. Yeah, basically, it could be a very solid utility guy with a good bat. And for pitchers, my scout thinks we should take this high school guy, Cole Miller, who, fine, I guess. But there's also somebody like Mac Anglin, who already has 3 very good pitches, high leader out of Clemson. Basically already could come in and like pitch in the major leagues with these ratings. Obviously, we would not do that, but he is a guy who I definitely would be interested in taking here and like having him be on the fast track to the system. Probably never a starter, probably more of like an opener. Long multiple inning relief man. And if I sort by movement here, there's Isaac Stevens, who is an Oklahoma State reliever. Submariner, very interesting, very high movement, good sinker slider combo. I mean, how could you not be interested by a Submariner? I wouldn't take him now, but in like a couple rounds, I'd definitely be looking here for Isaac Stevens. You got another college pitcher like Will Rigney here, who's a ground baller. Already a pretty solid, developed pitcher. Never going to have great control, though. Low work ethic, don't like that. But he is a high leader, so that is good. Can play first base, too, but I mean, he's probably not going to be that great of a hitter. Seth Halverson is very interesting. He's a guy who also is very much developed already. Very close to the big leagues, 23 years old here at a University of Tennessee. They're absolutely stacked. If you're unaware, high leader, high work ethic. Teammates tend to follow his lead. He throws cheese. And my scat seems to think that he's probably not going to be a starter. I would probably agree. Probably more of a multi-inning long man. We're going to take that outfielder I was talking about, Johnny Farmello here, the guy who could be a decent utility guy out of Centerville, Virginia. Looks like he's committed to the Who's. So Johnny Farmello is going to be our 7th round pick. And then if we auto draft here until the 8th round, we're going to go and look at those arms. Stevens is here. Oh no, did Halverson get taken? No, he's right here. What am I saying? Halverson did not get taken. We're going to take Alverson here in the 8th round. Go up to the 9th. Stevens is still here. So is Rigney. I think we're going to take Rigney in the 9th round here. And then we're going to go to the 10th, and we're going to take Stevens here. Am I reaching on these guys? Maybe, but I want to make sure we get these guys. There are 2 interesting bats here, one of them being Will Gale. New Jersey guy, goes to Seton Hall, very high avoid K, decent contact, literally nothing else. High leader, high intelligence, could be a little bit of an interesting player, very short guy, scrappy, very good base runner. Probably will be available for quite a while, though. And there's also Anthony Cole, who projects to be a pretty decent hitter. Definitely more of like a DH type. Definitely not an everyday player, but I mean, he does have high leader. I think we're going to go with him. We're going to go with Anthony Cole here in the 11th round. Here in the 12th, my scat thinks we should take Gavin Glasgow from the University of Maryland. He's, I guess okay. We're at this point now in the draft where we're just kind of drafting like college hitters or guys that have high work ethic. Like this Derek Tenney fellow, for example, from the University of Hartford. Connecticut guy, high leader, high work ethic, high intelligence. Has a way of immediately placing himself in the good graces of those evaluating him. I mean, definitely could be a solid first baseman. So I think this is who we're going to go with here. Derek Tenney from Hartford. Totally forgot about that catcher I was talking about. So I do like to get at least a couple catchers per draft class. Not that that is the same draft strategy now that there's only 20 rounds, but I would like to get at least one here. Here in the 13th round, we are just going to go ahead and take Will Gale here, who's that scrappy corner outfield guy, high leader, high intelligence from Seton Hall. And then just to get another college guy here in the system who can play a decent outfield, 65 outfield range, can be a very solid defender. It's pretty developed here, but he is never mind, he's not a high work ethic guy. But, maybe he turns into something. Xavier Bussy, whatever his name is, from NCA&T. All right, so we're going to take him here in the 14th round. There's also another guy here, switch hitter, high work ethic, high intelligence, outfielder, college guy from Georgia Southern. Like his profile, we're going to be taking him here. Like I said, we are in the late rounds here. We're just kind of drafting guys who could maybe possibly be something, and also just help out in the lower levels of our minor league systems as well. So like I said, that Braden Connors catcher, high loyalty, high work ethic, high intelligence, good catcher ability. He's going to come in and be Bergen Catholic. Didn't we take that Luca guy from Bergen Catholic? So he's going to join his teammate in our system here and work with our pitching staffs. Oh my God, it's the man himself, G. Allen. I believe I took him early on in the Mariners OTP series I did, because he was a much highly touted prospect in that, but I don't think I remember him being a TCU guy in that series, but college bat has some pop to him. We're very late in the draft here. Let's take G. Allen. Also just seeing right off the bat here, Jackson McKenzie, high school first baseman here, has a decent power outlook, high leader, high work ethic, high intelligence. What's not to like? Going to bring in another catcher here at the back end of the draft, Nick Toney, just straight across the board, high work ethic, high intelligence, high leader, 23 years old out of FAU. Never really going to be anything. He's going to come in and work with our young guys in the minor leagues. And then for our last pick here, we're going to sort by high schoolers and see if we can find ourselves a high schooler who'd want to come here. Somebody like Sam Robertson. Look at that. From Alabama, pretty good profile, going to walk, not strike out of time, a little bit of speed, can play some field, high leader, high work ethic, high intelligence. We love to see it. Definitely a solid guy. We are going to add him to our crop here. He is going to be. Never mind, I haven't even sent up our next pick yet. Now we are here at our next pick, and do you get taken? Did he just get taken by somebody? He did. He got taken by the Padres literally like a few picks after we were talking about him. So, of course, I just totally missed that guy. Definitely would have liked to have him, but oh well. There is somebody like Ryan Kropel here, sinister lefty, committed to Arizona State. Not a bad profile there. Looks like he can even catch a little bit, which is weird. Yeah, definitely wouldn't ever play him there, but I guess he caught a little bit in college. And he's going to be the guy we take here. High loyalty, high adaptability, high work ethic, high intelligence. So Ryan Kropel is our 20th round pick. And the 2023 first year player draft has come to an end. Our budget ended up being completely fine. None of these guys wanted too much, and we end up getting a pretty solid group. At least I believe so. Definitely, I like the guys we picked up. And Anderson here was our most expensive guy at $3 million, then Kapachi at 2.8. And now it's time to spend 2 hours going through our minor leagues and looking at each level.